Our first delegator this evening, 2.3.1, is Elizabeth Galvin, and she will be delegating on the topic of Professionalism Policy, Report 23060.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so let me know when you're ready to start and I will begin the timer.
thank you for this opportunity to express my thoughts on the Professionalism Policy and Survey Report. As a mother, community member, and former journalist, the Halton District School Board has successfully captured my interest and attention. Our educational institutions matter, and they require oversight and public participation to remain credible and uncompromised. In that vein, I was very happy to see the extensive engagement of stakeholders in completing the recently conducted survey. Over 5,000 parents participated to represent their children and engage in our democracy, and that's surely a small victory. While this is positive, I'm concerned about the unreasonable time frame this process has taken in order to initiate action. This situation began in September 2022. Today is April 19th to 23rd, and we still have no clarity, no certainty, and no resolution on the matter at hand. As the survey comments capture, the draft professionalism policy is vague, unclear, and is missing the necessary details to inform action, especially as it relates to events that have unfolded this year at OT High School. The question for trustees is how much continued time and effort will be required to achieve some resolution in this matter? This was and is.
Request was to speak to the professionalism policy, not at matters at OT. Please continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I thought that's where it arose from. So this was and is an entirely fixable problem, and I'm profoundly disappointed in the state that this board is in right now. The students in our community deserve better. I'd like to specifically address some of the inconsistencies in the methodology and interpretation of research conducted by the Research and Accountability Department at the HDSB. My concerns here are particularly unsettling given that the findings of your research are frequently used to generate policy, direct funding, and inform decision-making at the highest levels. For this, I'll give an example for context. In a 2021 research consultation report called Student Voices, your research department created an actionable report based on a sample size of 24 self-selected student participants out of an estimated 64,000 HDSB students, and noted that, quote, the feedback gathered from the 24 students corresponds to anecdotal data. Quote, this sample size is not of great importance to discussions of human rights and social justice issues. And also that, quote, the small sample size should be interpreted within this larger context of societal patterns and not serve to distract or dismiss student experiences. By contrast, in this 2023 consultation report, the same research department gathered data from over 8,500 stakeholders and wrote that, quote, the findings represent solely the opinions of individuals who opted to participate in the voluntary consultation and, quote, are therefore not usually representative of the entire population. The researchers go on to say that, quote, it is not possible or appropriate to make inferences or comparisons between stakeholders who participated in the consultation relative to the entire population of HDSB stakeholders. So to summarize, in the first report, the researchers claim that a survey based on the views of 24 self-selected participants accurately represents the views of the entire student body, and indeed all of society. But in this current report, the researchers claim that thousands of respondents speak only for themselves and their opinions should not be extrapolated further. So these two subjective interpretations presented by the same research department are diametrically opposed. Why is that? And given that all of the raw data for the current survey has not been publicly disclosed, both the context and intention of the department selected quotes offered in the report are questionable. When your research shows such egregious bias in methodology and interpretation, how can anyone take any of it seriously? When your research can appear to be fueled more by activism, I know, but I got interrupted, remember? That evidence, how can you expect to remain credible? This board's role is to support education, not activism. Halton families and taxpayers deserve better. After more than 2 years of disruption, including COVID-related school closures and lockdowns, our kids need stability. A recent statement by Children's Mental Health Ontario confirms this. And last year, a Canadian study found that students in grades 1 and 2 performed on average 8 months to a full year below grade level. This is not okay. If we truly care about putting students first, we'd be doing everything in our power to ensure stable, predictable, and professional learning environments where our time and resources are focused on learning recovery. The solution is simple. Focus on education, not activism. And by all means, bring in the support of others when needed. This board committed to retaining the services of a special advisor to help them refocus their efforts. What is the status of this, and what can parents and the community expect going forward?